Today's meeting is going to have two parts. The first part's going to have Paul Coolidge and Pat Schaefer, who have been working with the Competitive Insights team to look at both the benchmarking information that we got, and then what came out of that was the need for us to create our first Beacon mission, vision, strategic pillars, and we've had value prop before, but a new value proposition. So I mentioned that it's a new mission because Beacon, until this process happened, had been using Chris Pavlidis's vision and the goals that he had from starting the organization over 20 years ago, and never had a true mission. There is a placeholder of a mission on the website that was launched about 18 months ago, but that was put on there by our web designer, not by any process that was engaging Beacon members or the leadership to actually define what it is that we believe is the Beacon, the special sauce, as Charlie Timmons would say, for the Beacon community. With that, I want to turn it over to Pat and to Paul to share some exciting information.
Great. Well, thank you, everyone. I'm going to kick it off, but Pat and I will be jointly talking about the work and the Competitive Insights team. So thank you. And as Georgine mentioned, we're very excited to be talking about this because it's something that I think the organization has needed for a long time. So we think it's a good strategic thing to be beginning the year with. And I think with a lot of the changes that are happening, it's going to be a great process for not only the board, but to really integrate it throughout all of the committees into the subgroups. So Pat, if you go to the next slide, every project needs a good project name. So the group had voted on Beacon Metamorphosis because we really viewed this as a way that we are transforming and changing the shape of Beacon. So that hence the name of the of the team that we wanted to share, because we really look at it as that big of a picture, that it's a metamorphosis kind of deal. When you're talking about mission, vision, strategic pillars, value proposition, they are the grounding and the foundation of any organization. So the next slide just gives a little bit of background on the Competitive Insights team. In Q2 of last year, so almost 12 months ago, there was a group of members from the membership committee that made a proposal to the board of directors of Beacon about engaging an outside research company to do a more detailed competitive research project. It would have been very detailed and very expensive, and the board came back to us and said, it'd be wonderful to have this great competitive insight, but can we do it cheaper and faster? And so they challenged this group of members from the membership committee to identify who are some of the leading Philadelphia networking groups that were successful during COVID, who grew during COVID, and let's go out and find their insights. What did they do? Why are they growing? And what's their secret sauce? And so by using the Philadelphia Business Journal that every year has their power list that tracks the size of all sorts of organizations, but networking groups is one of those, and Beacon is always listed, we identified 5 or 6 key networking groups that we wanted to target. And we then used the Beacon board to get entry into the key leaders in each of those groups and came up with a detailed interview list of questions, and we interviewed them. And from that, we came up with some key insights. There were 15 total insights. We then presented this to the board, and then on the second bullet point in Q3 of 24, the board authorized the creation of a Competitive Insights team to act upon those insights. And I want to acknowledge those people there on these bullet points here. Several of them are on the call. Nella's on the call. Kathleen's on the call. Tom Koya might be on the call. I can't see all the names right now. But I do want to acknowledge that these people gave of their time in Q3 and Q4. And what they did was we reviewed all the insights from all of these interviews and decided that of the 15 insights we should act upon, the first one we should go after is mission vision, because as Georgine mentioned, we didn't really have one. And so the board approved this, that we would start with that. Pat Schaefer joined our team as acting as our mission vision facilitator, and a big thanks to Pat, who will be talking next, who's a former board member and really has been very active in a number of committees, but she has some expertise on creating mission vision value props, and so she facilitated with our team in the creation of that. So that's a little bit of background about how we got here today. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Pat.
Thanks, Paul. He gives me way too much credit, by the way. This
No,
was a team like I was a dream team. They were so easy to work with. They were able to disagree with one another and then come back together in agreement. They were great. So what you're going to see next is the product of that group. And I was just orchestrating it with my baton or whatever. So the first thing that we worked on was the mission statement. And what the team came up with was that Beacon brings leaders together through meaningful connections, cutting edge programming, and self directed development opportunities. We create a supportive community where members can grow, refine their leadership skills, and expand their networks, all while building lasting relationships that inspire and empower them to thrive. So the team, I think, really captured the essence of Beacon here and what makes us who we are, and gives us real purpose. And then we looked at the vision, and we looked at a lot of vision statements, and they were all these really crisp things. And we said, we need something really crisp. And so this was what the team came up with: the go-to community where leaders make meaningful connections. We're not there yet, but that's where we're headed the next 3 to 5 years. So the mission is our purpose. The vision is where we see us going. And our value proposition is helping high achieving professionals, from experienced executives to rising leaders, connect and grow through meaningful relationships and innovative programs within a community of members who share a generosity of spirit. And those last few words, we think are the key. What makes Beacon really different from other membership organizations is the fact that we are so oriented to helping one another. And one of the first things that we say to people when we meet them is, what can I do to help you? So we wanted to make sure that that came through loud and strong. John, back to your question, that we've summarized our target membership in the words experienced executives to rising leaders. Now, there's a lot of stuff in between there, but we wanted to show that there is a spectrum of membership. So that is our value proposition. We'll be working on talking points, sort of the building blocks, which Larry and Neil and a number of other people had worked on before. We'll be kind of revising those to fit this new value proposition so that our members have really easy talking points, regardless of who they're talking to about membership, whether it's somebody in transition, a business owner, somebody in a corporate seat. They'll have some talking points that they can use to illustrate the value that Beacon could bring to them.
In closing, we are excited to have created the fundamental components for our current and future Beacon organization. They will guide us in continuing to shape our identity, direction, and purpose, as well as to provide the framework for decision-making, strategy development, and growth. As a recap, we aspire to be the go-to community where leaders make meaningful connections. That's our vision, to build the reputation where leaders seek to participate and be a member in Beacon. To achieve this vision, we will need to embrace our mission to provide purpose as we forge forward with new objectives that meet our members' needs. When discussing Beacon with others, we hope you will share our value proposition, which embodies the true essence and value, particularly citing generosity of spirit that makes us different from other organizations. It will take all Beacon members to embrace these components in order to bring them to life. They were created by Beacon members and for Beacon members. Hopefully, you'll find that they speak to you in a way that makes you proud to be a member. Lastly, please plan to join us on Friday, March 7th, this week, at our First Friday Forum, as we begin embracing our Beacon metamorphosis through discussions of these components, which will help develop the ideas and the actions to bring our vision to life. Thank you for joining us and your commitment to our Beacon community.